Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're stepping into the world of Bob Camblin,
Hmm.
an artist who's, well, really fascinating, but also kind of hard to pin down.
Definitely elusive, yeah.
So we've got quite a bit to work with here. Some quotes from Camblin himself, which are great.
Direct insights, always good.
Yeah, and biographical stuff, a YouTube video looking closely at one specific artwork.
The Jawless Guardian one.
That's the one. And also some reviews of books about his art. So the plan is to sort of sift through all this.
Try and get a handle on what makes him tick.
Exactly. Unpack the themes, the paradox, understand his unique way of seeing things.
It's interesting because right away you see this contrast,
How so?
Well, you clearly have the chops. Went through the Kansas City Art Institute, got a Fulbright, taught at universities, the whole 9 yards.
Right, the standard path for a successful artist, almost.
Almost.
Yeah.
But then in 76, he just walks away from it. Chooses this nomadic life, selling art to fund his travels.
That's a huge leap. It feels like more than just wanting a change of scenery.
Oh, absolutely. It feels like a statement, like declaring his independence from the art world machine.
A kind of self-imposed exile, maybe, to protect his own vision?
I think that's a great way to put it. It really seems key to understanding his whole enigmatic thing.
Okay, so that independent, maybe even resistant spirit is fundamental. The biography really paints him as someone who didn't want to be boxed in.
No, definitely not. It wasn't just about traveling. It was maybe about creating the mental space he needed, getting away from external pressures.
Stepping outside the frame, so to speak.
Precisely. And those quotes you mentioned, they give us a direct line into that thinking.
Yeah, some really interesting stuff in there.
Like his interest in common sense, but also miracles, holding both at the same time.
Right. Science and magic on either side, he said. He seems comfortable in that gray area.
Very comfortable with complexity, it seems. Not needing everything to be black and white, finding wonder in the ordinary, not just the spectacular.
That really struck me too, the way he connects something simple, like watching trees, to these huge cosmic ideas. And that perfectly average view idea, that seeing the average helps you appreciate miracles. It's kind of backwards, but powerful.
It suggests that maybe by really seeing the everyday, truly paying attention.
That's when the extraordinary can actually slip in.
Perhaps, yeah, it's a different way of looking. And he links philosophy and art so directly.
Not separate boxes.
No, more like different tools for understanding. Same level as science or magic, in his view.
Yeah.
He refused to compartmentalize.
And what about the senza dubio thing? Without doubt.
Yeah. He called it sixth sense. It's like that intuitive hit, that gut feeling.
Okay, so valuing intuition just as much as logic.
Exactly. A deep kind of knowing that goes beyond just thinking about something.
His ideas about art itself also seem to evolve quite dramatically.
Well, for sure. He talked about moving from art for art's sake, which is, a pretty standard modernist idea,
Right, art about art.
to something much more vital. Art for life's sake, or even art for survival's sake.
That's a huge shift. It makes art sound almost necessary, like breathing.
Yeah, not just decoration or intellectual exercise, but fundamental to how he navigated existence.
And that connects to the paradoxes, doesn't it? That seems to be a core theme.
Absolutely, both in his quotes and in what the reviewers say. Traps that don't trap, structures that don't move.
The review of The Art of Everything called his drawings Paradoxes Made Visible. I like that.
It's perfect, isn't it? Like blueprints for ideas meant to make you ask questions, not just give you answers.
Like visual riddles.
Exactly. Designed to kind of short-circuit our usual way of thinking, make you stop and puzzle it out.
It reminds me of what the review said about Zen koans. Those paradoxical questions designed to break through logical thought.
It feels very similar. Not images to be just glanced at, but things to really engage with, to wrestle with mentally.
So that brings us to the Jawless Guardian. The YouTube analysis really digs into that one.
Yeah, it's a fantastic example, this figure. It looks monstrous at first glance, maybe?
A little unsettling, yeah.
But the key is the missing jaw. The interpretation is that it's not about being silenced or weak.
But liberated from words.
Precisely. That voicelessness becomes a symbol of openness, potential.
Yeah.
It connects to the Zen idea of sunyata emptiness, the void.
Not nothingness, but potentiality.
Exactly. A space where anything can arise. It's a really powerful reading of the image.
And the video links it to that I Ching hexagram, Keeping Still Mountain.
Hexagram 52. That sense of deep inner stillness as a source of strength. Not aggression, but endurance. quietude,
It's a beautiful way to think about it. And the connection to Taoism. Ooh.
effortless action, yeah. The
Oh,
creature just is. It doesn't need to assert itself or speak. Its power is in its being.
so how does that relate to the human condition part the video mentioned?
Well, the idea is that maybe the creature reflects our own struggles with language,
Hmm.
how words often fail us, Can't quite capture everything we feel or experience.
The gap between experience and expression.
Right. And maybe embracing that emptiness, that silence, is a way towards something more authentic, more peaceful.
Hmm. And what about the old men who sleep? That was an intriguing part of the analysis.
Yeah, the video suggests they might represent like our own dormant wisdom, the inner knowing that gets buried under daily life.
And the guardian is maybe calling them to wake up silently.
That's one interpretation. It shows how layered Camblin's work is. It's not just one thing. It sparks all these connections.
Definitely not just surface images. Okay, so Camblin didn't just stick to one style either. He moves from abstract impressionism
Right, earlier.
to this very distinct mouche volante style. What was that about?
So mouche volantes, that means flying flies in French. It's like those floaters you sometimes see in your eyes.
Okay.
And his style involved using lots of tiny dots and dashes, meticulously applied. It creates this shimmering, almost unstable optical effect.
Like pointillism, but maybe
Mhm.
weirder.
Kind of. A bit like pointillism meets Dada, or surrealism. It plays with your perception, makes the image vibrate, almost. It fits with his interest in disrupting how we normally see.
And he also did collaborations under different names.
Yeah, B&E Productions
Yeah.
with Earl Staley and Joe Tate, and later, the holding firm.
Why the different names?
Seems like another way to challenge norms. Questioning authorship, the idea of the singular genius artist. They even signed some works anonymous.
Interesting. Deflecting attention from the artist ego.
Seems likely. It shifts the focus back to the work itself, or maybe the collaborative process.
And his influences were all over the map, too.
Oh, absolutely. Early on, Botticelli. But then you see him engaging with Freud, did Chirico's surreal landscapes, Grunewald's intense spirituality.
Quite a mix. And writers, too, like Günter Grass.
Yeah, he was clearly reading widely, thinking deeply, just absorbing everything. Earl Staley's comments give a nice personal touch, too.
Right. Calling him a gregarious storyteller. You get a sense of the person.
Mm-hmm. And a big influence on Staley's own development as an artist.
That description of his later studio, the treasure tableau of weird objects, it paints quite a picture.
Doesn't it? Like a physical manifestation of his mind, collecting bits and pieces, making connections.
And the Mr. Peanut costume. Signing work as Mr. Peanut or anonymous. There's a real playfulness there, too.
Yeah, it's like, amidst all the deep philosophy, he didn't take himself too seriously. A bit of subversion, a wink.
How does that connect to the text in his work? Because words are often part of the image, right?
They are, and it's crucial. But the sources say those words aren't always explanatory.
So not just titles or descriptions.
No. Sometimes they might be disguises, hiding something else, or clues in the visual puzzle, or maybe just shapes, part of the overall look.
The reviews mentioned hidden meanings, secrets that emerge over time.
Exactly. It's like the work rewards sustained looking, deeper contemplation. You don't get it all at once.
It creates a sense of knowing rather than just understanding, one review said.
I like that distinction. It's not about intellectually cracking a code necessarily, but about letting the meaning unfold, letting it resonate.
It feels like he's deliberately making the viewer work a bit, become an active participant.
Absolutely. You have to engage with the riddle, bring your own thoughts to it. It's not passive viewing.
Okay, so as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, what are the main things you think listeners should take away from all this? Encountering Camblin. It's not easy viewing.
No, definitely not. And that's the point, maybe. The key takeaway for me is that invitation to slow down, to question how you see things, and to be okay with ambiguity, with paradox.
Finding meaning in the uncertainty, perhaps?
Yes. And fostering that just seeing state, like Zen, where looking itself becomes a form of discovery.
I was also struck by the themes of change, metamorphosis, accepting impermanence. That felt very central.
Very much so. Echoes of Zen, the I Ching. This idea that embracing change, the flow of things, is actually liberating. It allows for growth.
Instead of fighting it.
Right. And his work really demands something from you, the viewer.
It's not passive.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Like that jawless guardian waiting for your interpretation, or the puzzles and the drawings.
Yeah.
You have to bring yourself to it. Be comfortable not having all the answers right away.
And even with all this analysis, he still feels enigmatic, as the biography says.
He does. And maybe that's part of the appeal, the enduring mystery. Perhaps enlightenment, like interpreting his art, isn't a final destination.
But an ongoing process, an unfolding.
Exactly, a continuous journey.
So maybe a final thought. Camblin himself said, step off the train of thought.
A provocative instruction.
Considering his work, maybe the best way to engage isn't always to analyze intellectually, but just to be present with it.
Let it resonate, perhaps,
Yeah.
without immediately trying to figure it all out.
Yeah. He talked about a mystic switch. Maybe just letting the paradoxes sit with you, seeing what switch gets flipped internally. Maybe that's the real encounter with his art.
That could be the most revealing thing of all. Just letting it work on you.